The wait is finally over. Gamecock basketball is back. The women's team had an exhibition game to prepare for their season opener at home next week. The men's soccer team and the football team were also in action. We'll also take a closer look into concussions and tackling. This is Capital City Sports. Welcome to this episode of Capital City Sports. I'm your host, Lauren Schwartz. First up, the women's basketball team, which holds the number 2 spot in the Associated Press preseason poll, took on Newberry on Friday night. Kayla Pace was at Colonial Life Arena with the coverage.
I'm here at Colonial Life Arena, where the Gamecocks are looking to start their season off strong in an exhibition game against Newberry. Let's take a look at the highlights.
With only 8 players dressed on Friday night, all eligible players had to step up to start off this highly anticipated season. Star guard Tiffany Mitchell led a tough offense, but Newberry stayed in the game, trailing by only 5 points at the start of the second quarter. The Gamecocks dominated the second half of the game, with particularly impressive performances by Elena Coates, Jatari White, and Tina Roy. The game showcased the strengths of the Gamecock team, despite several injuries. Dawn Staley predicts a healthier team before the start of the regular season.
The number 2 Lady Gamecocks blew out the Newberry Wolves 93-49. They take on Ohio State in the first game of the regular season next week. For Capital City Sports, this is Kayla Pace.
Coming off back-to-back wins, the men's soccer team hope to keep their strong play going against Coastal Carolina on Saturday night. Let's check in with Dalton Aho at Stone Stadium to see if they could extend their winning streak.
On senior night, the men's soccer team took on Coastal Carolina. And on their first real scoring opportunity, the Coastal Carolina goalkeeper made a great save. Once again, relentlessly attacking, Gamecock midfielder Cody Millard received the pass and then took a shot, but unfortunately it was saved. On this play, the Gamecocks demonstrated how proficient passing can lead to shots on goal, but unfortunately, the Coastal Carolina goaltender made another good save. On this play, the Gamecocks showed resiliency by following the ball and working off the rebounds. And right here, Tryvie Ellingstad followed the ball and got his first goal of the season. On this play, Wesley Eads had a breakaway, but unfortunately he poorly located his shot, allowing for an easy save for the Coastal Carolina's goalkeeper. And here, the Chanticleers threatened to score set with a beautiful pass setting up a header, but William Pyle made the save. Kevin Walker had the move of the night, but this attack ended unsuccessfully with the Coastal Carolina's defense stopping the rush. And here, sophomore goalkeeper William Pyle aced the game with the clutch save as time expired. On behalf of Capital City Sports, this is Dalton Aho.
The football team traveled to Tennessee hoping to bounce back after a loss to Texas A&M last week. The Gamecocks are 1-1 under interim head coach Sean Elliott. Nick Jones was in Tennessee on Saturday.
We're here at Neyland Stadium as the South Carolina Gamecocks get ready to take on the Tennessee Volunteers. Historically, South Carolina has not played well in Knoxville as they've only won 2 out of the last 17 contests. The last 2 years the Gamecocks and Volunteers have played, the game's been decided on the final play, which sets up for a thrilling matchup here in Knoxville.
Butch Jones has his team ready to take on a South Carolina team who seeks revenge from last year's overtime loss. On Tennessee's first drive, Alvin Kamara gets the call, and he's going to take it down the left sideline, but he gets tripped up at the 6 and falls out of bounds. 3 plays later, who are we going to see run the ball? Kamara, of course, and he finds himself into the end zone to give the Volunteers their first touchdown of the game. The Gamecocks hope to make a statement their first drive on offense, but Tennessee's defense stood tall and forced them to punt after 6 plays. Josh Dobbs is ready to command his offense through the air game. He gives the play action, drops back, and slings it across the middle to Von Pearson for a 37-yard touchdown, and the Volunteers are rolling on all cylinders, taking the lead 14-0. After another failed offensive Gamecock drive, Tennessee takes control on their own 30-yard line. Dobbs runs the ball on a quarterback keeper, but it appears he fumbles before touching the ground. The refs consult with the booth officials, and they call it a fumble, and South Carolina recovered. Take a look at this. On South Carolina's first play on offense, Cooper gets nailed by Brian Randolph near the sideline, and the refs called targeting. After reviewing the hit, the referees confirmed that it was targeting, and Randolph gets escorted to the locker room and he's ejected for the game. Even with the short field the Gamecocks had to travel, they couldn't get the ball moving on offense and are forced to kick a 46-yard field goal, but Fry keeps it wide right, and that's another blown opportunity in the red zone for South Carolina, and the score remains 14-0. We fast forward to the second quarter, and Tennessee starts off with a 44-yard field goal by Medley to have 17 unanswered points. Perry Orth isn't known for his speed, but he hikes the ball on the Tennessee 40-yard line and uses his wheels to get himself a 15-yard gain to get the Gamecocks in field goal range. The drive would end 4 plays later as Elliott Fry makes his first field goal of the game from 43 yards out. Score now 17-3, Tennessee. Second half now, and the Gamecocks hope to make a statement coming out the gate. Orth uses a 2-step drop back and tosses one to Hayden Hurst for a nice gain. The Gamecocks have used trickeration all season, but this has to be one of the best of them. Orth finds Jonathan Walton, yes, linebacker Jonathan Walton, and he's going to get himself into the end zone. The first touchdown for South Carolina comes at the hands of a defensive player on offense, and the Gamecocks now trail 10-17. The woes continue for the Volunteers as soon after Kamara makes a catch and fumbles inside the 15-yard line, and TJ Holloman recovers. Perry Orth and the offense find themselves on 4th down and being gutsy and going for it, and Orth passes one to Jarrell Adams across the middle for a touchdown, and it's all tied up here in Knoxville at 17. The Volunteers finally get the ball running on offense and go heavy with the passing game. Dobbs throws one to Kamara, who gets his reservations for 6 into the end zone to give Tennessee the lead 24-17. It wouldn't take long for South Carolina to respond. Orth hands the ball off to Wilds, but he's going to toss it back on a flea flicker play, and Orth slings it to Matrick Belton for a big gain. Inside the 10-yard line, Orth immediately rolls out to the left side and sneaks one into Farrell Cooper for another Gamecock touchdown, and the game is tied at Neyland Stadium. We're now in the fourth quarter. Dobbs finds one of his biggest targets of the game, Von Pearson, for a 30-yard gain, which sets up this 27-yard field goal for Medley, and they take the lead 27-24. Last chance for the Gamecocks to score with 1:14 remaining. Orth gets the ball moving with a 16-yard pass to Belton down the right sideline. Soon after, Orth finds an open Jarrell Adams on 3rd down, who breaks 2 tackles inside the 20, and the ball is stripped, and Tennessee recovers to preserve the win. The Gamecocks lose another close one 2 weeks in a row on the road as they fall at Neyland Stadium by a final score of 27-24.
Once again, turnovers and pivotal moments hurt the Gamecocks. Earlier this season, Perry Orth threw interceptions against Kentucky and Texas A&M in closing minutes, and this time it comes at the hand of Jarrell Adams as he fumbles inside Tennessee territory. South Carolina's defense continues to struggle as they gave over 400 yards of offense to the Tennessee Volunteers. South Carolina does go winless on the road this season, but they hope to get back on the right track as they take on Florida at Williams-Brice Stadium as they play their last 3 home games of the season. For Capital City Sports, I'm Nick Jones.
CCS reporter Edwin Santamaria has a special report on concussions and tackling in high school football. Let's send it to him for the feature package.
It's Thursday night, and the Warriors of Spartanburg Christian Academy are gearing up for a big game. Teaching the proper tackling technique is vital on and off the field.
At SCA, we use what's called rugby tackling.
This is a 3-step process. Track the thigh, strike the thigh, and look up. The players go through a spring and summer learning this form without a helmet.
South Carolina and high school football go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. But with 11.2 concussions happening for every 10,000 high school games, it is important for coaches to teach athletes the symptoms of concussions and the proper tackling techniques so it can transition over to on game day.
To better protect the players from concussions, the National Federation of High School Associations has a targeting rule in place. And officials say it also affects the way the game is run.
The referees on the field are charged if they think or suspect that a player may have a concussion, and their job is to send them out the game.
The coach later has to have the player evaluated by medical personnel. If the player does not have a concussion, then the player can stay in the game. But if there's speculation,
"When in doubt, sit them out" is the little slogan that we all go by.
That makes fans in the stands a lot more comfortable, especially parents. When asked if they worry about the possibility of their child suffering a concussion, one parent said,
Honestly, I don't. For him, I've tried to teach him the fundamentals, make sure he understands that.
This support, combined with proper teaching, leads to positive results. Edwin Santamaria, Carolina News.
That is all for this episode of Capital City Sports. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at CCS on SGTV. For Capital City Sports, I'm Lauren Schwartz. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.